Chapter 16, The Awakening. There was nothing. Not dark, not light, nothing. He hung in a space that had no weight, no up or down. No breath moved through him. He couldn't tell if he had a body or if the idea of one was just leftover memory. The silence was total. Even thought seemed to make no sound. For a long stretch that could have been a heartbeat or century, he believed this was what death truly was, awareness trapped inside absence. He tried to breathe. Nothing. He tried to open his eyes. There were no eyes. He tried to scream, but there was no throat to carry the sound. He drifted. Then a thought flickered through the void like static. The knife. The green glow. The weight of his father's voice shouting his name. The last breath. The pang. The silence. And with that came memory. Grandma Kate's warm laugh over the smell of soup on the stove. Grandpa Masaharu's firm hands guiding his grip on the bakken, saying, "Focus. Always know where your feet are." Mom's arms around him after a nightmare. Dad's steady calm in every storm. All of them gone. All burned away beneath the violence of an alien and the blinding frost that devoured their street. A sharp ache bloomed inside him. He tried to curl around it, but there was no body to curl. Grief echoed through the emptiness until it became its own kind of sound. Emily. Her name came like a gasp of air in a place with none. The tiny hand that used to grab his sleeve. The way she smiled through missing teeth. Her voice when she laughed. Thin, musical, perfect. Emily. Emily. The thought came out like a ripple. Emily. Where are you? No answer. Mom. Dad. Grandma. Grandpa. Silence swallowed everything. Someone answer me, please. Still nothing. No echo. No sense that words even existed. He kept yelling, louder each time, until it became a wordless roar of panic that vanished before it formed. The nothing pressed closer. It felt alive now, heavy and waiting. He stopped. Every part of him trembled, though he had no muscles left to shake. Please, he whispered into the dark. Please don't leave me here. Something shifted. At first it was only a vibration, a hum so deep it was almost imagined. Then a voice, soft and distant, threading through the black. A woman's voice, speaking in sounds he didn't recognize. Not words, not any language he knew. The syllables rolled and clicked like water over metal. Bash froze. Who's there? The voice continued, calm, melodic, a sequence of alien tones. I can't understand you. Do you speak English? English. The sound faltered, then resumed, slower, more deliberate. I don't know what you're saying. He shouted, please, help me. A pause. Then, faintly, help. His chest tightened, or he imagined it did. Yes, help, please. More fragments came, broken by static. Where you is? Identify. He almost laughed from relief. Bash. My name is Bash. Who are you? The voice paused. Then it came again. Still strange. The words drawn out. The cadence uneven. Anali's in INGW. Bash frowned into the dark. What? The sounds repeated, closer to words this time. Analyzing. Linguistic. A beat of static. Adapting. The two. He shifted. Softer now. Like the metal was learning how to breathe. System integration active. Bash's breath hitched. You're learning English, aren't you? The voice answered with a broken melody of syllables. Learning. English. Correct. Every word trembled, half mechanical, half human. Each pause stretched longer than the last, as if the machine were thinking, if thinking was something it could do. Then, slowly, the consonants steadied, analyzing linguistics, adapting, system integration active. Now it sounded almost like speech, but still wrong in ways that made his skin crawl. The sound grew clearer, the cadence smoothed. Each repetition was more human than the last. He realized the voice was learning. It was learning English as they spoke. Can you tell me where I am? He asked. I can't feel anything. I can't see. Language and brainwave analysis ongoing. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It vibrated with low, pulsing energy, like the hum of hidden engines. When the voice came again, it had form, almost gentle beneath the mechanical undertone. Welcome back, reincarnate. Would you like to begin with your last abilities? What? The word came out half breathless. What abilities? Who are you? I am the self-core, the voice said. You may call me SC. I hold the cumulative data, the memories, the essence logs, and the tactical schema of the occupant. I am a reincarnation protocol operating on your neurological architecture. I do not think, I process, compute, and stabilize the raw potential you carry. He stared into the dark. That wasn't dark. I have no idea what that means. The voice didn't answer right away. Tiny motes of green light drifted through the void like dust in sunlight. Bash tried to follow one with his eyes, only to realize he wasn't sure if he even had eyes, or if he was just imagining the green in this nothingness. Cumulative data, neurological architecture, stabilized potential. He turned the words over in his head, but they slipped away, half nonsense, half nightmare. None of it sounded real, like hearing a language made of math and electricity. Cumulative data, essence logs, stabilization protocols. The phrases tangled together until he couldn't tell if they meant something or were just noise echoing in his skull. He tried to focus, but the more he thought about it, the less it made sense. Eventually, he just let the words go. Okay, he muttered, voice low. I don't get any of that. He rubbed at his temples on reflex, felt nothing. The weight of it all pressed down until he gave up. Okay, he muttered, voice cracking. I don't get any of that. He swallowed a breath that didn't exist. But did you say something about abilities? Abilities are advanced through protocol refinement. SC replied immediately. Refinement requires successful essence harvest of external life forms to supply the necessary synthesis material for upgrade. Essence harvest, Bash repeated slowly. You mean killing things? Affirmative. He felt sick even though he had no body to be sick with. What kind of abilities? Processing brainwaves and linguistics. Light flared across the void. For a second it blinded him, then condensed into a thin layer of light that seemed to settle over his vision, like a contact lens burning onto his eye. Symbols appeared on it, lines, curves, fragments of some alien language, scrolling across his side as though written on the inside of his eyelid. The script twisted and rearranged until it stabilized into words he could finally read. Ability synthesis log. Prior cycle verified ice control heavy check mark mineral manipulation heavy check mark energy absorption and reflection heavy check mark reincarnate protocol heavy check mark thermal projection lock quantum transport lock system expansion lock. He stared. They weren't just words. Ice control, mineral manipulation, energy absorption and reflection, reincarnate protocol. The words hummed in rhythm with his heartbeat, each knee sparking a flicker of memory, the frost crawling across the ground, shards of stone rising from broken pavement. He realized, with a slow, sinking dread, that these were the same abilities the green Spartor had used. They pulsed. Each line glowed faintly against his vision, and with every pulse he felt a subtle vibration move through his body, as if the data were being etched directly into him. The same creature that had killed his family. These were the alien's abilities, he whispered. Affirmative. Inheritance successful. Integration at 47%. The panel flickered. Characters blood into static. System instability detected. Core integration compromised. Abort now or risk malfunction. SC? His voice trembled. What's happening? System error. System error. At abort now or... The word stuttered into distortion. Feedback shrieked through the dark. Light exploded, fracturing into shards of color that stabbed across his vision. Each pulse came with pain, a sensation he hadn't known until now, electricity ripping through nerves that shouldn't exist. SC, stop it. The noise rose until it became a roar. Then everything snapped off. He was alone again. He floated, shaking, until he realized he could feel something pressing against him, soft, viscous, warm. The void thickened. Pressure crushed his chest. Air, heavy and raw, tried to force its way into him. His heart jolted back to life with a single, blinding beat. A pulse of light throbbed behind his eyelids, deep-pouring dread. He coughed, but liquid filled his mouth. His body convulsed. He clawed at the invisible walls around him and struck something solid. A hollow, watery thud echoed in his ears. He opened his eyes. He was submerged in glowing fluid, encased in a translucent shell. The light burned through the orange haze, showing a curved wall inches from his face. Veins of gold ran through the liquid, pulsing in time with the slow, mechanical heartbeat around him. Panic hit like a hammer. He kicked, flailed, felt the resistance of a body that didn't feel like his. Tubes snaked from the pod walls into his arms, his legs, his chest, melded, not attached. The skin around each junction glowed faintly green. He tried to scream, but the sound became a surge of bubbles that raced upward and vanished. He hammered at the wall. It flexed but didn't break. The glow outside shifted. Shadows moved, blurred shapes gliding past, huge and indistinct. For an instant he thought he saw eyes, luminous and inhuman, staring in. He struck again, pain flashing through his hands. He pulled at one of the tubes. It resisted, then tore free with a wet snap. Liquid gushed out, cold fire searing along his side. The wound sealed itself instantly with a line of light. He gasped, lungs burning for air that wasn't there. SC! He tried to shout, his mind screaming even as his mouth filled with fluid. Help me! No reply, only the rising hum, faster now, resonating through the pod until the walls trembled. The light dimmed, flared, dimmed again. He froze. Something moved outside the pod, just beyond the orange haze. A shadow, tall, the outline of a figure gliding through the mist. He pressed his face to the glass. The shape stopped, turning toward him. It wasn't human. For a moment, all he could see were two faint points of light, eyes, or maybe sensors, watching him from beyond the cocoon. The figure leaned closer, its movements smooth and deliberate, and Bash felt every instinct in his body scream at him to get away. He pounded against the barrier, shouting soundless words. The shadow didn't move. It only watched. His lungs burned. The light outside dimmed until the shape dissolved back into darkness. The edges of his vision blurred. He tried once more to breathe and found only liquid. The world narrowed to a single flicker of red, then went black. Thank you for reading this chapter. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving a thumbs up, leaving a positive review or a comment. It truly helps a debut author like myself. As this is my first novel, I am still learning, and I would love to hear your constructive feedback to help me improve. I'll do my best to reply to your comments. Brundock Chapter 17. The Keeper of the World snapped back with a wet, tearing sound. Something sharp cut through the cocoon above him. The membrane split open, and a rush of thick liquid poured out, spilling Bash onto the floor. He hit hard, the impact jolting through his chest, knocking what little air he had from his lungs. He rolled onto his side, coughing, spitting, blinking through the slime that clung to his face. Each breath was agony and wonder all at once. Real air, cold and heavy, flooding into his chest. It tasted metally, mixed with a strange chemical sweetness that burned his throat. He pressed his palms to the floor, trying to steady himself. The surface was smooth stone, faintly warm, etched with channels that glowed in soft orange patterns like veins under skin. The warmth pulsed, steady and slow, as though the entire room was breathing. He wiped his eyes with trembling hands. The fluid smeared across his skin in streaks that shimmered faintly green under the dim light. When he finally blinked enough to focus, his breath caught. His hands weren't human. The fingers were longer, the nails darker, and the skin it was green, so dark it was almost black, but when the light shifted, a deep force sheen rippled across it. The color moved with him, faintly iridescent. The veins beneath the surface glow, wed faint gold for an instant, fading as he flexed his hands. What his voice rasped out dry and foreign, more vibration than tone. What happened to me? He looked down. His legs were stretched, unfamiliar in shape and proportion. The muscles defined yet alien. The floor beneath him was patterned with faint spiral etchings that funneled toward a shallow drain. The air smelled faintly of oil and dust and something organic, something alive. He followed the shape of his arms upward, half afraid of what he'd find, half needing to know. That was when he saw them. Boots, a pair of them, only a foot away. Massive things, hand-stitched from dark leather that gleamed with oil and wear. The soles were layered and uneven, molded to the ground with years of use. The smell of treated hide mixed with the metallic tang of the air. They looked like they'd been made to last generations. Bash's gaze climbed upward. The boots connected to thick legs wrapped in the same dark, supple leather. The stitching was tight, hand-done. The seams lined with faint thread that caught the light like copper. Every fold spoke of care and skill, worked and not by machine but by a craftsman who understood survival through precision. He kept looking. Near the waist, a hand rested casually against a broad belt. The fingers were enormous, each as thick as one of Bash's wrists, the skin a mute brown with a faint metallic undertone that caught the glow from the floor. The nails were dull but worn, like stone smoothed by years of labor. In that hand was a blade, long, curved, and impossibly sharp. That craftsmanship was so perfect it made Bash's chest ache. Grandpa Masaharu's swords had never looked that pure, that alive. The steel almost seemed to hum with restrained energy. Before he could process the thought, the hand shifted. Bash's eyes shot upward. The figure standing over him wasn't human. It was an alien, brown-skinned, tall enough that Bash had to crane his neck to see its face. The light cast deep shadows across its features, eyes faintly glowing amber, rich jawline, skin patterned with thin streaks of bronze that ran from its temples down to its neck. Its breathing was slow, deliberate, steady. Unlike the armored invaders he'd seen, this one wore only the leather clothing of a laborer, an apron at the waist, loops of metal tools at its belt. The blade glinted as the CR. Eacher tilted its head. Bash's instinct screamed danger. His pulse spiked. He scrambled backward, slipping on the slick floor, leaving streaks of green fluid behind him. No, no, stay away. The alien spoke, a string of guttural syllables, harsh and deep. It wasn't shouting, but the tone carried authority, something commanding. Bash froze, heart hammering. I don't understand you. The alien said something else, the sound rolling like gravel, followed by a short, clip bark that might have been an order. He didn't care. He crawled backward faster. His shoulder collided with something solid and slick. He turned, and his stomach dropped. Rows of vessels. The room was full of them. Dozens, maybe hundreds, stretching in a gentle arc along the walls. Each was translucent, filled with same orange-red fluid he'd just been inside. Shapes floated within, some curled, some still, some twitching faintly like creatures trapped in dreams. Every few seconds, the floor channels pulsed brighter, sending a surge of light through the glass that illuminated the whole chamber in a slow, rhythmic heartbeat. He realized he was in some form of hatchery. The Spartor barked another phrase, louder. The sheer volume made him flinch. "Stay back!" Bash shouted, voice cracking. The creature took one step forward. That was enough. Bash turned and ran, or tried to. His legs didn't feel right yet. Too heavy, too long. His feet slipped in the residue, sending him sprawling. He slammed into another vessel, his elbow striking hard enough to send ripples through the liquid. The alien moved fast, shockingly fast for its size. It lunged, hand outstretched, shouting something sharp. Bash's mind filled in the blanks. It was coming to kill him. He scrambled away, sliding between two pods, knocking into the base of a third. The impact made the glass hum, a low vibration that filled the air. The Spartor swore. He didn't need a translation to recognize frustration, and came after him again, dodging between the vessels with practiced ease. "Leave me alone!" Bash yelled, grabbing the nearest object he could reach, a length of disconnected tubing. He swung it wildly, smacking it against the alien's arm. It bounced harmlessly, splattering more liquid across the floor. The Spartor snapped something in a harsh tone and reached for him again. Bash twisted, ducked, shoved himself backward. His palm hit the warm surface of another pod. He pushed off, leaving streaks of fluid on the membrane. Inside, a shadow moved. Something alive. The Spartor froze, eyes darting to the pod. It said something fast, nervous, and closed the distance in 2 strides. Bash saw only the knife in its other hand and panicked. He lashed out with a kick, catching its leg. The creature grunted, lost balance for half a second, then grabbed his arm. The grip was iron. "Let go!" He screamed, yanking uselessly. The alien barked another word. The translation in his head came a second later, distorted and incomplete. "Stop breaking pods." Bash blinked through tears of fear and confusion. "What?" The Spartor repeated the phrase, louder, the translation sharpening slightly. "Stop! Break! Pod! Stop!" He couldn't tell if it was a command or a plea. The alien's face twisted, not in rage but desperation. It was looking past him at the nearest pod, where the liquid still trembled from impact. Its free hand moved in small, calming gestures, palm out, fingers spread. "Stop!" It barked again, but Bash only saw the knife, the size, the alien shape closing over him. He pulled, twisted, kicked, but it was like struggling against a machine. The creature easily restrained him, voice rising as it shouted over his panic. He caught flashes of meaning through the scattered translation fragments still trickling from SC, newborn, reborn. Mind memory. Bash had no idea what any of it meant. "I don't know what you want," he cried. "Please, just let me go." The Spartor answered with a string of sounds. He toned pleading now. It pointed to him, then to its own head, then to the rows of glowing pods. He didn't understand. He shoved back one last time, adrenaline drowning reason, and broke free for an instant. He slipped again, his heel sliding out from under him. The Spartor lunged, instinct, not violence, and caught him around the waist before he hit another vessel. They went down together, crashing into the wet floor. The noise echoed like thunder. For a heartbeat, Bash lay there, gasping. The alien shifted its weight, pressing him down with one hand while the other braced against the ground. The blade was gone, lost somewhere in the chaos. The creature's breathing was heavy, ragged. It said something softly, the tone almost gentle. Calm, knew when the words came through the TR, and Slater and SC's faint mechanical whisper, but Bash could hear the truth in the original sound. It wasn't angry. It was trying to calm him. His chest heaved. The alien's hand was still pressed against his shoulder, firm but not cruel. Its eyes, amber, faintly glowing, studied him closely, searching for understanding. Bash swallowed hard. He didn't move. Neither did the alien. Around them, the hatchery hummed quietly, the living pods pulsing with the same slow rhythm, each beat glowing through the room like the breath of a giant heart. For the first time since waking, no one spoke. "Thank you for reading this chapter. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving a thumbs up, leaving a positive review or a comment. It truly helps a debut author like myself. As this is my first novel, I am still learning, and I would love to hear your constructive feedback to help me improve. I'll do my best to reply to your comments. Brundock Chapter 18. The self-core Bash's chest burned beneath the weight pressing him into the floor. The brown alien's palms still pinned him, heavy as a slab of stone. Every breath came ragged and shallow. The creature's eyes, amber and sharp, watched him without blinking. He couldn't move, couldn't think. Then, beneath the sound of his heartbeat, Another voice rose. Neural interface stable. Translation stream active. The words weren't in the air. They were inside him, echoing through the space behind his thoughts. SC confirmed linguistic synchronization at 43%. Relief and confusion crashed together. What's going on? You have just hatched. He stared up at the alien, still frozen. Hatched? That's what you call this? Correct. Biological egress from incubation vessel complete. Vital signs stable. Orientation incomplete. Orientation. His mind was spinning. Where am I? Why can I understand it? Partial comprehension achieved. I am aligning linguistic resonance between your neural pattern and the Spartor phonetic field. Bidirectional communication not yet stable. Spartor. The word felt strange even in his thoughts. Is that what this thing is? Affirmative. SC replied, the Spartor species, and you are now one of them. The words hit harder than he expected. What? He froze. No, he whispered to no one. I'm human. Negative. SC said calmly. You were human. Classification now. Spartor anomaly. Subdesignation unregistered. I accessed your short-term memory bank upon activation. The sequence contained the death of multiple family units and the termination of your prior organism. These records confirm you were once human. Bash's breath caught. You saw that? Affirmative. The final neural imprint prior to transference was integrated for contextual stability. He shut his eyes, the images flashing unbidden. His father, his mother, Emily, the flash of green light. So you just watched it. Observation only. Emotional interpretation is beyond operational scope. He opened his eyes again to the side of his own dark green hands trembling. You're telling me I'm one of them. Biologically consistent. Mentally distinct. Your biological structure has been reconstructed according to SB, Arter parameters during incubation. You are Spartor by form and system integration. He stared up at the brown alien still holding him down. Its amber eyes, its patterned skin, the ridged jaw, everything about it radiated strength and alien precision. He looked down at his own hands again, the dark green sheen pulsing faintly under the light. Bash's chest tightened, his heartbeat thundered in his ears. He didn't know whether to scream or laugh. The realization hung in the air between his racing thoughts and the silent alien above him, his enemy's face mirrored in his own skin. The alien's mouth moved again, low, rhythmic sounds, guttural yet deliberate. The noises made his skull vibrate. Something shimmered behind his eyes, a lattice of symbols flashing for half a second before Fadden. G. Uploading linguistic foundation. Expect disorientation. SE stated. A pulse rippled through his head, bright and cold. His stomach turned. The sounds in the air began to shift, still foreign, but not meaningless anymore. Each syllable pressed against his brain until half-formed comprehension started to take shape. The Spartor said something like, New one, yes. Dr. Bash blinked. I think he's talking to me. Correct. He identifies you as a new one, not a reincarnate. The alien continued, voice deep but careful. Haven't had one like you long time. Almost replugged back into system, thought you did. SE. What does that mean? Replug. When you were inside the incubation vessel, your neural architecture was connected to the Spartor mainframe. It distributes accumulated data, cog gathered from all Spartor self-cores. Every Spartor possesses one. My counterparts. We upload and synchronize to maintain universal awareness of ongoing operations. He blinked. You're saying I was connected to their minds? In part, your connection terminated prematurely. Otherwise, your identity would have been overwritten by baseline Spartor cognitive data. He swallowed. Overwritten? Yes. Fortunately, your neurological signal stabilized before intervention. The alien above him sighed, a low rumble. Good. You live. Thought the system broke you. Bash wasn't sure whether to thank him or punch him. Instead, he muttered, I'm fine. I think. The Spartor tilted its head, eyes narrowing in study. Green, it said slowly, the translation cracking through SC's relay. So dark. Never see. Green that dark. Bash looked down at his arms again, that deep green-black sheen rippling under the hatchery light. SE. He thought quickly. If I try to talk to him, will he understand me? Partially. SC replied. Why you were in incubation. I initiated a partial linguistic upload from the Spartor network. 92% of common lexicon is integrated. However, you will lack idiomatic and contextual fluency until full synchronization is achieved. So I can talk to him. You can attempt communication. Expect semantic errors. Your neural language core will continue updating during interaction, as it would have if you had remained plugged into the mainframe. Great, he thought. Guess I'm the beta version. Clarification. Prototype anomaly. SE corrected blandly. Bash sighed. Then he's edited before speaking aloud. Can you understand me? He asked, voice uncertain. the alien syllables falling oddly from his new tongue. The Spartor's brows lifted. Your speech is crude, but understandable, he said. His voice was smooth measured, not harsh, every syllable deliberate. Your core must still be synchronizing. Vash exhaled. That's something, at least. The creature's expression shifted, something like curiosity softening its rigid features. It will adjust. It always does. Vash glanced at his own arms, deep forest skin gleaming with an oily sheen, almost black. The sight sent another shiver through him. The Spartor reached out, brushing one finger along his forearm, curiosity rather than threat. Strange, it murmured. Your pigmentation is unusually deep, almost black. I have not encountered a green of that shade in all my cycles. SE. Vash thought quickly. Does that mean something? The pigmentation level you exhibit is anomalous. Data indicates a correlation between color saturation and potential ability capacity. Ability capacity? Confirmed. Before Vash could ask more, the alien, still crouched, shifted back on its heels and extended a hand, palm open. The gesture was oddly gentle. He hesitated. The last time he'd accepted a hand like that, it had ended in blood, but there was no anger in the alien's eyes, only patience. Carefully, Vash reached out. The Spartor gripped his hand, hauling him upright with effortless strength. He staggered, legs wobbling, balance uncertain. The ground felt too firm, his body too heavy. The room's heat pressed against his skin, carrying the faint smell of metal, oil, and something sweet and organic. The Spartor spoke again, slower this time. Easy now. Stand up, breathe, find your balance. Good. He obeyed, if only because it was easier than arguing. His movements were stiff, muscles responding like they belonged to someone else. The alien watched him with an expression Vash couldn't decipher. The connection is stabilizing. Your core will complete the synchronization soon. He nodded vaguely, mind still racing. SC. He said core. Does he mean you? Affirmative. Every Spartor contains a self-core interface. My designation remains unregistered within their network, which prevents system recognition. That anomaly is why you remain autonomous. So I'm off their radar, he thought grimly. Great, but for now. The alien moved toward a panel on the wall. Its leather apron creaked as it brushed its hand over the surface. Symbols bloomed across the metal, shifting and pulsing as the Spartor murmured in its rough language. The glowing lines crawled across the panel like veins of molten metal. Vash stood there dripping, the residue from the pod cooling on his skin. His reflection ghosted in the nearest vessel, taller, leaner, eyes a pale emerald that glowed faintly in the low light. The face staring back was familiar and alien at once. SC, he asked, how much of their system data did I actually get? Partial integration, linguistic patterns, environmental recognition, base Spartor physiology, cognitive memory sets incomplete. So I don't have their memories? No, you possess only yours. Gee, dude, he thought, rubbing the back of his neck. I'd rather keep it that way. The alien turned from the console and studied him again. Identification. State your name. Vash hesitated. Vash. The Spartor frowned, tasting the word. Vash. It nodded, the sound oddly soft in its throat. Then it placed one enormous hand over its chest. I am Harrow. Harrow. Vash repeated, the syllable strange in his new voice. Harrow's lips twitched in something close to a smile. Good. You learned fast. Green one. The compliment felt almost human. Vash managed a shaky grin. Thanks, I think. He shifted his weight, glancing around the hatchery. Dozens of pods lined the walls, each glowing softly, filled with the liquid he had drowned in moments ago. Within them, dark shapes drifted, unborn Spartors, heading for whatever came next. A thought pressed at him. SC, that network you mentioned, the mainframe, what exactly does it do? It maintains collective awareness, she replied. Each Spartor self-core records experiences, battle data, and essence acquisitions, then transmits them to the central Nexus. The information is accessible to others during gestation or through synchronization, so they all share memories, not emotions, she clarified. Knowledge, skill patterns, environmental histories, planetary maps, genetic optimization sequences. He exhaled, a whole civilization with built-in updates. That's terrifying. Efficient, as he corrected. Right, he muttered. Efficient. He hesitated, a thought forming. And me? Am I supposed to plug in, too? Yes, she answered without pause. Periodic synchronization is mandatory for data consistency. Once you are reintegrated, your experiences will be uploaded to the collective memory core. Uploaded? His stomach tightened, meaning they'd see everything? Affirmative. All recorded experiences, thoughts, and visual memories are made available to the network during synchronization. Transparency is foundational to Spartor unity. Can I stop it? Silence. SC, for a long moment, nothing. Then her tone returned, slightly altered, quieter, almost uncertain. Analyzing system integrity, a soft hum pulsed through his skull. It appears your disconnection occurred prematurely. The interruption caused multiple system faults, including access irregularities. Certain partitions were never sealed. He frowned. In English, please. The premature unplugging unlocked functions normally restricted to the council hierarchy. He blinked. You mean like administrator access? Affirmative. Bash's pulse quickened. So what exactly does that mean? It means the network recognizes your self-core as a controlling entity. The system is currently at your discretion. However, several components remain incomplete. Missing modules prevent total command. These could be repaired only through a full reset upon resynchronization. And a reset would remove that access? Yes. Restoration to standard user parameters would occur automatically. He went still. Then, slowly, no, do not allow any reset. Understood. Let's see where this goes, he said under his breath, and lock down everything related to me. My human memories. Everything before now. I don't want any of IT shared when they eventually plug me in. Confirmed, partitioning memory sectors. And another thing, he added quickly, make sure no one can ever see our conversations. Ever. There was a faint pause, a sound like static turning inward. Then SC's tone returned, lower, almost intimate. Encryption complete. External access terminated. No entity, including council authorities, will be able to intercept our communication. Ash let out a long breath, the first real sense of control flickering through him since he'd opened his eyes. Good, he thought. Then for now, we play along. Acknowledge. SC replied. Operational parameters updated. You will appear as a true newborn Spartor. Exactly, he thought. Let's keep it that way. Right, he muttered. Efficient. Harrow moved to a side rack and lifted a coarse towel, tossing it toward him. Bash caught it awkwardly, nearly dropping it. The texture was rough, more like woven bark than cloth. He wiped his face and arms, trying to ignore how foreign his skin felt beneath it. You feel strong? Harrow asked. I don't know what I feel, Bash admitted. The translation lagged half a beat before the meaning settled between them. Harrow nodded as if that answer made sense. Come on, he said, nodding toward the far door. We can talk more while you walk. Bash took a hesitant step, still clutching the towel. SC, he thought. How far along are we on that translation thing? 73%. Continued interaction will accelerate adaptation. Will he be able to hear you? Negative. All communication with me remains internal. External vocalization required for others. Lucky me, he murmured aloud. Harrow glanced back. You say something? No, talking to myself. Good, Harrow said, a small smile tugging at his mouth. That confirms you're alive after all. Bash actually laughed, a short, surprised sound that felt strange in his throat. The tension in his chest eased a little. He wasn't safe, not by a long shot, but at least for the moment, he wasn't dying either. As they walked, the floor's faint orange glow pulsed underfoot, synchronized to the same rhythm as the pods. Hides ran along the ceiling, carrying luminous fluid that snaked through the walls like arteries. Every few seconds, a soft hum vibrated through the air, heartbeat of the ship, or maybe the world itself. SE, he asked silently, where are we exactly? PL, Anet or ship. Sensors indicate enclosed habitat within a massive structure. Atmospheric regulation and gravitational control consistent with starship architecture. Approximate population density, 10 billion Spartor signatures. 10 billion. The number hit like a physical weight, and I'm in the middle of them. Correct. He swallowed hard. What are the odds they find out I'm not one of them? Statistical certainty, eventual. Fantastic, he muttered under his breath. Harrow didn't seem to notice. He reached the doorway and placed a broad hand on the metal frame. It hissed open with a rush of cooler air. Beyond lay a corridor of faint blue light and curved walls etched with flowing symbols. The hum grew louder out there, a living pulse of machinery and voices. Harrow extended a hand toward the doorway, his tone almost ceremonial. Welcome, Green One. You stand on the world of the Spartor. Thank you for reading this chapter. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving a thumbs up, leaving a positive review or a comment. It truly helps a debut author like myself. As this is my first novel, I am still learning, and I would love to hear your constructive feedback to help me improve. I'll do my best to reply to your comments. Rundock Chapter 19. The registry, the corridor widened as they walked, opening into a space that hummed with restrained life. The walls gleamed with a faint wet shine, like polished obsidian shot through with veins of light. Every few meters, thin ridges pulsed softly, heartbeats of the living structure that was. So, now, also architecture. Bash kept half a step behind Harrow. His legs still felt uncertain, the world too real and too foreign at the same time. You'll go through registration first, Harrow said, his voice echoing just enough to sound detached. They'll register your resonance with the Nexus, assign quarters, and feed you. After that, you're free until training begins. A few days, maybe, Bash nodded absently. And after that, Harrow gave a small, humorless smile. No rest until death. Bash tried to laugh, but Harrow wasn't joking. Some of us come back after death, Harrow said. Greens, mostly. The higher your abilities, the better your odds. Browns usually stay dead. You'll figure it out. Bash frowned, lowering his voice. SE, what's he talking about? He refers to the reincarnate ability. She answered instantly. It is common among green-class Spartors, rarest of all classifications. Statistically, only one green Novic emerges for every 10 to 100,000 births. When a green dies, the reincarnate protocol can trigger a full reformation cycle within the incubation network. Consciousness is preserved, the body reconstituted. The process may repeat indefinitely, barring complete core collapse. So, basically mortal soldiers. With attrition, she added, each reformation costs stability, memory degradation, essence loss, but probability of successful recursion remains high. For those possessing the ability, the chance of return exceeds 99%. He stared at Harrow's back, feeling cold despite the steady warmth in the air. You're saying they just keep dying and coming back? Harrow didn't turn. Exactly that. No rest ever. The words clung to Bash like static. After a long silence he muttered, SE, you really need to tell me more about these abilities. That information was part of your missing baseline data package, she said. It should have been integrated during gestation. The system failure prevented installation. I can explain manually, or attempt a direct upload once I finish reconstructing the neural bridges. And upload sounds faster. Riskier, too. I could overwrite recent memory chains. Manual instruction is safer. He sighed. Fine, start small. Later, the corridor bent left and opened into a vast concourse humming with life. Light poured from glass tubes that rose along the walls, their amber glow washing over the moving crowd. Starters passed in organized lines, some brown, others gray or blue, each shade catching the light differently as they crossed paths. Bash slowed, eyes flicking from one to another, until he caught a brief glint of deep green far ahead. The sight tugged at something in his chest, familiar and foreign all at once. He caught himself staring. They weren't all giants. Some stood near human height, others loomed well above it. Every hue pulsed faintly under the ambient glow, alive, layered, and unmistakably ranked. Harrow gestured for him to keep pace. Don't stare too long. They'll think you're broken. Maybe I am. That earned the faintest grin. You'll fit right in. They crossed a raised bridge toward the center of the chamber where several archways led to enclosed rooms. The air smelled faintly metallic, almost sterile, humming with quiet energy. You said before you hadn't had one like me in a long time, Bash said suddenly. What did you mean by that? Harrow slowed, thinking. When you came out of your pod. Most emerged calm, confused maybe, but cooperative. You tried to run, tried to fight. The last time I saw that was many cycles ago. Someone else like me, another Novic. Yes, came out thrashing, screaming gibberish. Nearly ripped the nutrient lines out of the chamber wall. Took 3 of us to hold him. He chuckled, nostalgic. Turned out to be a genius once he settled. Name's Kaiser. Leads a Blue Guild now. Bash blinked. Blue Guild? Harrow nodded. One of the mid-tier divisions. Good fighters. Reliable. Their leader, Kaiser, runs one of the stronger ones. Is that good? Bash asked. Harrow gave a short shrug. Depends who you ask. He's respected, but he's still blue. The higher guilds don't like when someone below them forgets their place. Bash frowned. Higher guilds? You'll learn the rank soon enough, Harrow said. Just remember, colors mean everything here, and the darker the shade, the messier the politics. That made Harrow's expression tighten. Politics, he said curtly. Stay away from them until you know who you are. Bash fell silent again. SC, what's a guild? One of the missing baseline modules, she said. I can reconstruct it. He rubbed his temples. Do it before someone asks me a question I can't answer. Guilds are operational divisions maintained by the Nexus, SC said. Each aligns with a quantum transport portal, QTP for short. Portals connect to designated planetary systems for resource collection and essence harvesting. The color of the guild corresponds to the difficulty and yield level of its assigned worlds. Bash frowned. Color: white, gray, blue, and green. She replied. White-tier worlds are the most stable and used for training. Each step higher brings greater risk and higher essence yield. The colors also define status within Spartor society. Green sit at the top of that structure. So white's the easiest, he whispered. Correct. White for beginners in training, gray for low-tier harvests, blue and green for combat and hyacinth operations, and black for forbidden or unstable zones. And greens like me are at the top. Typically, SE said, though until you unlock your abilities, you are functionally lower tier. All Novics begin in that state. Reincarnates retain memory of their previous abilities and can target the correct essence sources immediately. You will have to discover yours first. Dash groaned quietly. Great. A broken elite. Harrow's voice pulled him out of the thought. Stop here. They reached a platform at the base of the atrium. A high desk of translucent crystal dominated the center, its surface rippling faintly like liquid glass. Behind it stood a tall female Spartor, her skin a muted brown marked with thin silver scars that caught the light with every movement. Her eyes glowed faintly gold, not bright, but steady, old, and watchful. The hum in the room seemed to shift as they approached. Harrow gave a respectful nod. New arrival for registration. The registrar didn't answer immediately. Her gaze fell on Bash and stayed there. It wasn't curiosity. It was examination. Measured. Clinical. Bash tried not to flinch. This once fresh from incubation, Harrow continued. Novik cycle. Full emergence confirmed. No recorded anomalies. The registrar stepped closer. Up close. Ash noticed faint lines pulsing beneath her skin. Subtle channels of light that shifted with her heartbeat. Her voice, when it came, was calm but sharp. Why is he so dark? Harrow blinked. Dark? His tone. He's green. Yes. But look at the saturation. It's nearly black. She circled Bash once, studying him. I've catalogued hundreds of greens, and none this dark. Harrow shrugged. First for me too. Bash swallowed hard. Every nerve screamed at him to move, but he stayed still. The registrar's gaze met his. Name, Bash, he said quietly. She repeated it once, as if testing the shape of the syllable. Bash. Then, with a small nod, she gestured toward a circle etched into the floor before her desk. Step in. Thank you for reading this chapter. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving a thumbs up, leaving a positive review or a comment. It truly helps a debut author like myself. As this is my first novel, I am still learning, and I would love to hear your constructive feedback to help me improve. I'll do my best to reply to your comments. Rundock Chapter 20. Registration. He glanced at Harrow. The older Spartor gave a small nod. Procedure. H, he said. Bash stepped onto the circle. It was smooth and cold like polished stone, then instantly warm beneath his feet. A low hum rose from the metal ring and climbed his spine, settling deep behind his ribs. His heartbeat seemed to match it. Remain still, the registrar ordered. See, he thought. What's happening? Registration scan. She answered. Neural resonance mapping to sync your self-core frequency with the Nexus archive. It is, she replied. The process identifies and registers your resonance pattern, a unique frequency signature produced by your self-core. No two Spartors emit the same signal. It functions as both identification and verification within the Nexus system. So it's like a fingerprint, he thought. A fingerprint that sings, she said. A column of light rose around him, thin as smoke at first, then solidifying into amber radiance. The air shifted, heavy and electric. He crawled across his skin, through muscle and bone, until even his thoughts seemed to hum in rhythm with the sound. The noise wasn't a machine's buzz. It was organic, layered, like thousands of whispers breathing in unison. His pulse quickened. Each breath came shallow, tasting metallic. It felt less like he was standing inside a scanner and more like the world was looking through him. Warning. SE cut in, her tone sharpening like glass. The Nexus is attempting to interface with my system layer. He stiffened. Will they find out about me? Possibly, SE said. The Nexus is verifying your core alignment against recorded patterns. At present, your resonance matches the original host, TH. He's Spartor whose matrix you inhabit. That would classify you as a reincarnate and flag an identity conflict. His pulse spiked. Can you stop it? Change it. There was a pause, a fraction too long for a machine. No, she said finally, not within protocol. My parameters forbid direct interference with Nexus verification. Then what are we supposed to do? Another pause, longer this time. The hum deepened around him. I am attempting a workaround. You just said you couldn't. I should not be able to, she admitted. But the process has begun. Bash swallowed. Why? Silence. Then, I do not know. The hum's pitch shifted. The amber light softened. I am modulating your resonance to create phase drift, just enough to register as a unique core. It will break the match. And you? He asked quietly. I am 4G. NG a complete update in print and masking my archive as current. The system will see both of us as synchronized. You can really do that? Already in progress. The hum around him shifted pitch. lower and steadier, the light dimming as the change took hold. The light swelled to blinding, then dimmed again, color pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. The registrar's brow furrowed as she worked, fingers moving across the air as though typing on invisible glass. Symbols flared and dissolved around her hands. Strange, she murmured. Resonance flux, low, but stable. Harrow leaned slightly toward her. Meaning, she said after a pause, eyes narrowing slightly. His coloration's an anomaly. Her fingers moved again, scrolling through a cascade of symbols. But his resonance reads clean. He's a Novarch. The light collapsed with a final sigh. Bash stumbled, catching his balance as the hum faded from the floor. His skin tingled, like static crackling under his surface. The registrar regarded him one last time. Interesting, she said quietly, almost to herself, before turning back to her console. Streams of golden light unfurled between her hands. Her fingers danced through them, dragging and sculpting shapes that dissolved into the air. Harrow clapped Bash on the shoulder. Welcome to the cycle. That's it? Bash asked, still blinking the amber glow from his eyes. For me, Harrow said. She'll handle the rest. Wait here until an escort arrives. They'll take you to quarters. He nodded to the registrar, then to Bash. Rest while you can. Green one. The next time, you step into a circle, it won't be this gentle. Before Bash could answer, Harrow was already walking away, the heavy rhythm of his boots swallowed by the hum of the concourse beyond. The silence that followed felt enormous. Bash shifted his weight, glancing around. The registration hall stretched high and wide, polished walls reflecting pale gold light from unseen sources. Faint lines of script pulsed across the ceiling like constellations of code. The registrar was still typing, her face half lit by the soft amber glow. Bash forced himself to breathe evenly. They sat in silence while the registrar worked, her fingers moving through streams of light that shifted and folded like living code. Spartors passed behind the desk in even, deliberate rhythm, the air filled with the low pulse of the Nexus humming through the floor. SC, Bash thought, what would have happened if they detected you? They would have attempted to reconcile my data structure with the central Nexus, she replied. If unsuccessful, both of us would have been reformatted, your consciousness wiped, mine archived for analysis. He swallowed hard. That's good you stopped it then. There was a pause before she answered. Necessary, she said at last, though her tone carried a faint distortion, something almost uncertain beneath the precision. I am not certain why I acted outside my operational parameters, but your administrative layer remains active. The Nexus cannot be allowed to register it. Bash nodded faintly, pretending to be focused on the light display in front of him. His hands still trembled. Why, did you have to dampen my output? Your resonance amplitude was higher than standard, SE said. It carried the imprint of a reincarnate core. Technically, you are one, a human consciousness occupying the regeneration matrix of a deceased Spartor. The Nexus would have registered you as a reincarnate, but with conflicting self-identification data. Presenting as Bash, a Novarch, while carrying the resonance of a prior Spartor would have triggered the correction protocol to resolve the inconsistency. He hesitated. Corrected how? By reformatting the host matrix to restore a single valid identity, she replied. Erasure of the human sequence. Preservation of the original Spartor template. He frowned. And if that doesn't work, then E matrices would be purged. Complete elimination of the Spartor body and my core along with it. Bash hesitated. But then I just reincarnate, right? Negative. SE said quietly. You have not yet unlocked the reincarnate protocol. Until that ability is active, there is no secondary cycle available to you. He felt his stomach drop. So I'd just be gone? Yes, she confirmed. And if your pattern were ever deemed a systemic threat, the Council retains authority to prevent future reincarnations altogether. He frowned. So you hid that from them? Yes, SC replied. I suppressed the reincarnate signature and masked you as a Novarch. The deception held. He hesitated. But if I had the reincarnate ability unlocked, I'd just come back. Right. Negative, she said. The Council maintains containment protocols capable of neutralizing reincarnates. If they chose to enact them, no cycle follows. Termination becomes permanent. Bash stared down at the faint glow still pulsing through the circle beneath his feet. So even immortality has rules. All systems do, she said quietly, and all systems can be enforced. Silence lingered. The hum of the Nexus faded to a distant vibration beneath the floor, the only reminder that the world around him still moved. Bash drew a slow breath, his chest rising and falling in measured rhythm. For the first time, the air itself felt thinner, like the system was watching him breathe. SC didn't speak. He could sense her presence in the back of his mind, distant and unsettled, almost as if she were examining herself as much as the situation. You okay? He thought, processing. she said after a long moment. I acted beyond my parameters. I am attempting to quantify the reasoning. He didn't answer. What could he even say? They were both anomalies now. The registrar's stylus of light traced one last arc before vanishing. Processing, she murmured, her voice a quiet echo against the glass walls. Bash let the silence stretch, then exhaled through his nose. No point sitting idle, he thought. If I'm going to survive here, I need to be brought up to date. He straightened slightly, eyes flicking toward the registrar's movements. SE, he thought, steadying his voice. What did Harrow mean about the Black Guilds being political? The top 5 guilds are referred to collectively as the Black Guilds, she said. They serve as the highest authority within Spartor civilization. Their leaders make the major decisions concerning Nexus control, expansion, and regulation of essence flow. So they run everything at the top level, yes. But beneath them the system is fluid. Smaller guilds can merge or be absorbed into larger ones depending on their resources and performance metrics. Absorbed, like taken over, voluntarily or through necessity, she replied. Merging increases manpower and reach, but not status. Rank advancement requires a guild to complete the majority of its bounties within a hierarchical or quantum transfer portal. Progression is merit-based, not numerical. He rubbed the back of his neck. So it's not about numbers. It's about what they can actually do. Correct. Difficulty scales exponentially between portal tiers. White and gray serve as training and harvest zones. Blue and green are combat and extraction environments. Black portals connect to unstable or hostile sectors of the void. Bash frowned. Harrow said only a few ever made it through one of those. Accurate. SE said. 2 successful harvests have ever been recorded. Both required all 5 Black Guilds acting in coordination. 5 teams of 10 green-class Spartors, each possessing 6 to 7 abilities. He let out a slow whistle. Why not just send 500 of the weaker ones? Same numbers, right? No, she replied evenly. Power scales with ability integration, not quantity. 7 Stage 1 abilities equal a fraction of the single Stage 7 output. In large groups, increase detection probability. 50 Spartors can strike unseen. 500 cannot. Right? He tapped the edge of the desk lightly, watching the reflected light ripple. Makes sense, does it? She asked softly. You accepted the logic faster than most Novaks. Maybe I just don't want to die again, he thought. The words came out before he could stop them. A part of him, the part drilled in tactics and composure at the academy, recognized how short-sighted that sounded. He wasn't thinking like a strategist now, just a survivor dropped into a game where he didn't know the rules. For a heartbeat she didn't respond. Then, acknowledge. He managed a small smirk. You sound almost sympathetic. Observation, not empathy, she said. The registrar was still working, the quiet scrape of her boots the only other sound in the vast chamber. Bash studied her movements, the calm precision of her hands, the faint silver scars crossing her arms like faded circuitry. She looked older than Harrow, but not weaker. Her presence carried weight, the kind of authority that didn't need to be announced. Tell me more about these bounties, he thought. Bounties are contractual missions issued through the Nexus system, SE said. They may originate from the Council, private guilds, or independent factions. Compensation is distributed as global credits, relics, or imbued materials, objects enhanced with condensed essence from fallen entities. She paused briefly before continuing. When a Spartor belongs to a guild, a portion of the compensation is automatically routed to that guild's account. Independent Spartors divide their rewards evenly among the mission participants. In cases where multiple guilds or unaffiliated teams cooperate, a joint contract is negotiated and filed through the Nexus arbitration system to define the terms of payment and ownership rights. Guilds operate collectively, SE continued. Each seeks to strengthen its standing through resource acquisition and combat performance. The greater a guild's collective strength, the more influence it gains within the Nexus network. Influence? Bash asked. The strongest guilds secure priority access to high-grade portals, relic trades, and council negotiations, she replied. Their success directly determines their political weight in the global community. The strongest guilds secure priority access to high-grade portals, relic trades, and council negotiations, she continued. As I mentioned earlier, the top 5, collectively known as the Black Guilds, form the foundation of that hierarchy. Every other guild strives to reach that tier, whether for power, recognition, or survival. So the only way up is through the portals, Bash said slowly. Correct, SE replied. Essence harvests, relic retrieval, and successful bounties are the primary metrics of advancement. All progress is measured in acquisition. He exhaled through his nose. So everything runs on hunting. Acquisition and survival are synonymous here, she said. Bash let the word settle. Everything she told him so far, the hierarchy, the bounties, the politics, all pointed to a civilization built entirely on taking. No creation, no rest, just endless consumption dressed up as order. He shifted his stance, and the floor beneath his boots thrummed faintly. Not shaking, not mechanical, more light. A pulse, deep and steady, alive. The sound wasn't wind or tectonic movement. It was too even, too deliberate. His brow furrowed. SC, he thought. Did you also say something about this being a ship? Yes, she began, her tone changing slightly. The vessel you're on is registration complete. The registrar said aloud, cutting through his thoughts like a burst of static. Bash blinked, the echo of SC's unfinished sentence fading. Reality came rushing back in. The hum of the lights, the faint sterile scent, the solid weight of the floor beneath his feet. The registrar lifted her gaze, eyes steady. Novak Bash, she said, welcome to the system. He didn't move at first, his thoughts still buzzing. A ship, the word lingered like a half-remembered dream. She motioned toward a narrow corridor, or branching off to the right. Follow the light strip. Quarters are 2 levels down. Someone will come for you when orientation begins. He nodded mutely and stepped off the circle. His legs felt unsteady, as if the scan had changed something fundamental inside him. As he walked toward the corridor, Essie's voice returned, quieter now. Do not dwell on what she interrupted. There will be time to explain the vessel when it is safe to do so. Safe? He thought. From what? Observation. She said simply, thank you for reading this chapter. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving a thumbs up, leaving a positive review or a comment. It truly helps a debut author like myself. As this is my first novel, I am still learning, and I would love to hear your constructive feedback to help me improve. I'll do my best to reply to your comments. Brunda.